3, 2.
Good evening. I'm Tina Arnold.
I didn't say 1. And I'm Johnnie Arnold.
And this is Suspect Paranormal.
Part 4. What?
I just had a brain dead moment.
Yeah.
I'm so tired.
Why?
Because I ran around all day and did mommy chores to get ready for Catherine's birthday sleepover.
Oh.
Our daughter turned 13, and she's having her sleepover tonight. So we have a house full of teenage girls.
So if you hear anything squealing in the background, that's them.
Yes. But I'm also freezing, and I don't know if it's because I'm getting sick, because we've had a house full of sick kids all week, or is it really this cold?
No, I'm burning up, but your skin was like really cold.
Yeah. And I have a sore throat, so I'm probably getting sick.
I've had a sore throat for days.
And sorry.
No, I'm just saying I've had a sore throat for days, but I mean, other than that, I feel fine.
It might also explain why I feel so run down and why I'm so tired.
Yeah. I've been pretty run down too.
Yeah. So, anyway, I have a pretty interesting story tonight. And he's going to stay down here because he keeps falling. But he keeps leaning and it's driving me nuts.
He's been drinking.
He has been drinking.
He's been drinking all night. And he, you dropped his little buddy just a second ago. So now he's...
That's why he looks so happy. Doesn't he look happy?
He looks messed up.
Okay, so I have an interesting story for us tonight, and it is not about children. It's about the elderly.
Okay.
So what's the other thing other than children that bothers you?
Elderly. Because I lived...
He was raised by his grandparents.
And my uncle...
You can't tell stories like that.
Yes, I can.
Oh, Lord.
It was all over the news.
Okay.
My uncle actually was arrested for elderly neglect and abuse and was sentenced to 10 years and served, less than a year?
He always gets away with it somehow.
Yep, he always gets away with shit.
So what is the safe age range that doesn't bother you? So it's between like 18 and 55?
No, 18 is still too young.
Okay, so...
I'd say like 30 to...
30 to 55?
55, yeah.
I'll start looking for stories like that for you.
You don't have to, but I don't know. There's just by the time that you tell your story about the kids or the elderly, it's always just like... I'm like depressed and
well, that's kind of what our show is about. It's all depressing and dark stuff. So
yeah, but then it's like, man, I don't even want to do mine anymore.
Well, then maybe we should switch, and your segment should come first.
Well,
let's try that out tonight. You do your segment first, and then I'll do mine.
Well, you were there for my segment. I wanted to talk about Arnoldsville.
Not
was
Arnoldsville.
It? No.
Arnoldsville was the next day. You're talking about Martin.
Y'all, so if you follow us on any of our social media, and we like to go out and find new places and explore new places. Tina found this place called Martin, Georgia.
So I pull the map up and I just kind of look around and see what's a small town in North Georgia
that we haven't been to.
And that's where we go.
So we go to this small town, and it is like one step away from being a ghost town. Like, I've never seen a town this dead before. Like, it looked like it used to be really a pretty thriving town, probably I don't know, maybe a bigger population or something, but they had at one point thrift stores and like a whole shopping center, like a whole what do you call it, like a little strip area where it had shops and stuff. All that was just gone and dead. Everything was like closed down, and it looked kind of like dirty and just not taken care of. The entire town kind of looked that way, or at least on that side. But the weird thing about the entire experience was when we got there, it was like this overwhelming feeling of just
dread.
It was like a void of all emotions.
It was
very heavy.
Yeah, that's the word I was going to use. It was a very heavy feeling. So I looked up the information for you, and it went from 453 people was their max number to 339 people now.
From moving out or something else?
It just says that there was an 11% decrease in the population, and that the median age is 34 years old.
That's weird.
So I don't like to just spread rumors and make stuff up, but
well, I'm just telling you what I experienced.
It reminds me of like this movie that we saw one time. I can't think of the name of it, but once they hit a certain age, they did away with them. You know what I'm talking about? Are you talking
about Midsummer?
No.
Oh.
No, it's much older than that.
Oh,
I don't remember. I'd have to look it up to try to find it. If you know the movie I'm talking about, it's an older movie, and once they hit a certain age, they would unalive them to make sure that the town stayed about the same age.
But the weird thing about the town is once you got outside of the town and into the country area, that it lightened up. It didn't go away, but it lightened up. And we went to an old cemetery
in Martin.
And you wouldn't believe the amount of children in that. And this was from like, what, 1800s?
It started in the 1700s.
It started in the 1700s and went all the way up to like modern, like
now.
Recently, yeah.
Yeah. It was split down the middle. So there was the old cemetery on the left side and the new cemetery on the right side. If I'm standing at the tracks looking at the cemeteries.
They had the most unique headstones I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, beautifully made.
Yeah.
But it kind of added to the whole creep factor. So, my thing is, if you're from Martin, Georgia, or know anything about Martin, what happened?
Yeah, we want to know. Like, we're curious because you don't get like that to be just a dead town like that for no reason.
Like, they had one of the buildings, it was just, they took the windows and they put brick all inside these giant windows, these giant arch windows, and they just bricked it up. They didn't like put wood or anything. It was just brick, and they bricked it in, and then they had the rest of the town was just like shut down. It was just nothing.
There were broke down cars.
Everywhere. Yep. There were broken down cars everywhere.
And okay, so when you're going through any historic town, so there's always like this strip of old brick shops, right? So in these old brick shops, there were broke down cars with tarps on them or just cars decaying there. And then as you went down the road a little bit, there were random businesses like a junkyard, I don't know, businesses that I didn't recognize that are like small businesses. There's like one or two, not a whole lot, like one or two of them. And their whole parking lot was not full of cars where people were inside shopping. It was full of cars with tarps over them and tires missing and hoods missing. And it wasn't one of them was a junkyard, and I saw that one full of cars like this, but the other ones were not junkyards. So you wouldn't You just wouldn't think you'd see cars in the parking lot broke down like that.
It reminds me of like a zombie apocalypse area.
Yes, and then you go behind the street that goes behind the brick shopping area, which is supposed to be like a residential area. But you get back there and you're under the cover of trees. And on one side is a brick building. And on another side is a old, just rundown house that looks gutted. And there's cars broke down and wrecked cars all along the left side. There's old school buses that are broke down all along the right side. And then you go to the stop sign on that road and you look to your left and it looks like there's this newer 4-lane highway.
Mm-hmm.
To the right is another residential street. Straight ahead is a residential street. And then there's like a abandoned ball field. But if you sit at the stop sign like we did, we sat there. I purposely just sat there for about 10 minutes recording and watching because we wanted to see if anybody would come along.
Not a single car the entire time we were in this entire town.
Not the whole time. We sat at the stop sign alone for 10 minutes waiting for somebody to come behind us. So I'd have to move, or looking at the 4-lane highway, waiting for somebody to go down the highway. Nothing. There was nothing.
The only time that we saw a living being the entire time that we were out in this area was right before we got to the town itself. And it was a guy out in his yard with a wheelbarrow, like carrying stuff in a wheelbarrow and taking it towards his house or something. But
we were in this town for 2 hours.
And
because we went
didn't see a single living person.
Yeah, we went and got out and walked around the cemetery, and then I just drove around looking for anything, and we were there for about 2 hours. And when we were leaving, headed towards Avalon, we saw 2 people standing out in a parking lot, and that was it.
Yep.
And I mean, I didn't get a good look at them, but
usually when you're going through a residential area, and there were houses out there, we did go through residential areas, but usually you'll see somebody outside, like doing something, or, coming from somewhere or doing something in the yard. There was nothing. Yeah. Nobody was out there doing anything. Like, it was
so weird.
Creepy.
Yeah.
Anyways, we ended up getting such a really just sinister feeling from that place that we were never going back.
No. And usually we'll go out and we'll find these new places and we'll discover places and we'll fall in love with the town, and we'll come back and we'll get the kids and we'll take the kids out and we'll go picnic, or we'll find a park to play at with the kids.
I was like, hell no, we ain't taking the kids there.
We won't take our kids through Martin. Nope. We wouldn't even drive them through there.
I don't even ever want to go through there again. I don't ever want to go through there again. No. That's like a feeling I've never felt like that before. I
don't think I would even drive through Martin again to get to Avalon.
And if you live in Martin, we're not putting you down or anything, but
no, we want to know how you're
like
still there.
That was a bad feeling. Kicking.
We actually would really, really love to know the history of the town, to maybe understand a little bit better what's happened and why that feeling is there, because we can't find anything. I've looked. I have looked for anything. The only information that I can get is that it used to be, Indians used to live out there before they became a town of Martin.
I wonder if they like cursed it.
I don't know. But in the 1700s, that's who lived on the land.
Native American territory. But now we did go through Arnoldsville.
The next day.
That was a really cool little town. I would actually live there.
Arnoldsville is literally, if you blink, you're gone. You're out of it. You're now into the next town.
But they had the coolest old cotton mill out there. That was like, it was in rubbles, but it was the coolest thing I've ever seen, probably.
And that town had a good feeling.
Yeah.
It had a really cozy feeling to
homey feeling,
yeah. And the meal. Did you hear that? That really country accent there?
That meal.
The meal. I still can't say it right. has a tree growing up through it, which I thought was really cool.
And infested with squirrels.
Yeah, they were just having a field day playing out there. And then there was like a flea market. Is that what that was?
Yeah.
And a restaurant.
Yep.
And then their post office is in a trailer.
Yeah, their post office is a trailer. It's not actually a building. Which was cool. I mean,
I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the houses out there were trailers.
Yeah, that's.
I tell you, I would take a trailer with land over.
That's how we want to
a
retire.
house with no land any day.
Yeah, we want to retire in a trailer with a whole bunch of land. If you're from Arnoldsville, I am just as curious to hear any history from that place.
And I'm envious that you get to live in that place.
It's really nice. It was really nice. It's way out there. It's not crowded. You know, it was another place where we did see quite a few cars coming through, but it was not like what we're used to.
No. Well, even so, if you think about it, even what we're used to now is not what what we used to be used to.
It's going to get there, though.
It's going to get there. It's building here.
Yeah. We're from Henry County, and the population when we left Henry County was...
It was one of the... it's the largest growing county in the state of Georgia.
I wonder what it is now. I wanted to say I thought it was... the population was like 95,000, but it was probably more.
I don't know. It's too many for that little bitty infrastructure they got. And it's starting to get that way here.
Okay, so... the population where we are from, our county alone, has 245,235 people.
Wow, that's jumped a lot since the last time. What census was that?
That was for 2021.
That's a lot since we left.
So let's see.
That's doubled since we left in 5 years.
I'm looking to see if I could find what it was. It didn't double.
I thought it was about 95.
So when we lived there, it was 203,922.
Oh.
I thought it was 95 for some reason, but I was wrong.
I think maybe like when me and you first got together, it might have doubled from then.
It grew really, really quick, which is why we got out of there.
Yeah. Well, not to mention that we had a drive-by behind the house.
I was not going to mention that, but yes. Our county went downhill really quick. So we came up here, but now the growth has followed us here. And so now we're looking for a smaller place, but maybe not as small as Martin, Georgia.
No. I'd take Arnold, and I would take Cleveland. I would take Alto.
Well, I would
take Hiawassee. Hiawassee's still got a pretty good population, but it's so spread out that I wouldn't mind.
Cleveland was my dream place. You know that.
They're growing up too.
But now everyone that I talk to that is wanting to leave
is going to Cleveland.
Yeah. So we have to find somewhere else because I'm not going to follow the herd. I don't want to go where
a lot of people aren't willing to go to like
Martin.
No.
Just kidding. If you're from Martin, Georgia, I'm just playing, I swear.
A lot of
you
people
have it really good out there because there are only 339 of you. It's great. I don't know.
And possibly a portal to hell.
I was about to say, I don't know if it's great because you live near the gate to hell, but
But Hiawassee, you have to literally go through the mountain range.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people that are willing to snake it up that mountain.
So I think that is probably the safest bet. I don't know. We'll figure it out when we get to that point again. I hear the chittens.
I hear them.
So if you do have any information on those places, Martin, Georgia, or Arnoldsville, Georgia, or if you even have like your own crime story that you would like to share or a paranormal story that you would like to share, go over to suspectparanormal.com and send a message, and we'll probably read it on the air and share Um, I've had a couple of people actually contact me. I'm trying to figure out a way to do. They are out of state, so I'm trying to figure out a way to do interviews. The best way possible. I don't know how to do that yet. I know how to do the software part, but I don't know how we're gonna set it up. So that's my problem. But if you are those two people or a couple of people, then just keep an eye out for a message, because I am working on it and I will figure it out. I don't ever not figure it out.
All
right. So what's your story?
So my story tonight is about a woman named Jane Alexander and her aunt Gertrude McCabe. In 1983, Jane was at a friend's house and got a phone call from her cousin. Her cousin told her that her Aunt Gert had not answered her phone when she called her at 8:30 the previous evening. Gertrude was an elderly woman. She was 88 years old, but she still lived by herself, and she was still very independent and very full of life. She had a very, very strict schedule, which is why when she called her at 8:30 and she didn't answer, it sparked concern, because by 8:30 every night, she was watching TV, she was, getting ready for the night to end.
Mm-hmm.
So when she didn't answer her phone, they were worried. And Jane, who had been raised basically by her aunt, and loved her very much, got very upset because she knew something wasn't right.
All right.
So she called her aunt, and a man answered the phone. And he identified himself as San Jose police and promptly handed the phone over to the city coroner, who told Jane, after verifying who she was, that her aunt had been unalived.
Made it 88 years and then have to go out like that.
Yeah. She had been beaten, strangled, and stabbed.
Wow.
So one wasn't enough. She had to. Yeah, it was a lot, because an 88-year-old woman, she's not going to be able to put up much of a fight anyway.
All right.
So devastated, as you can imagine, Jane wanted to drive straight to her aunt's house. Her live-in boyfriend, however, did not want her going alone. And so he said that he would drive her. And he took her to her aunt's house. When they got there, the police let them stay, which I find this part really weird. The police let them stay in a part of her house away from the crime scene.
Yeah, that's odd.
Isn't that weird? I'm
already going to call it now. It's the live-in boyfriend.
What in the world?
What? I'm just going to go ahead and say it to him.
Oh, okay. I find it very odd, because you would think that, all right,
you're at a homicide.
Right, unalived, inside the home. You'd think the whole house would be off limits to anybody at all.
And everybody would be a suspect until you prove otherwise.
Right.
Right.
But to let them sleep in the house, very weird. All right.
Well, to be honest, isn't it kind of weird to want to sleep in that house?
Yeah.
Dude, I'd be like freaking out. Like,
yeah.
They haven't caught the killer.
I hadn't even thought of that. I was just so off-put by the fact that they let them in the home to stay overnight, because they could mess with anything. They don't know them.
Well, right, but I'm saying just wanting to stay in the house.
I know.
That's weird.
So, in the days after Gertrude's murder, Jane went headfirst into trying to help the police find her killer, because this was her beloved aunt. she wanted to have justice as quickly as possible.
She did it.
Is everyone going to be, is it a coroner suspect?
At this point, yes.
So she worked very closely with them, and when they seemed to be laying it down, turning it into a cold case, they couldn't find anything, there were no leads. She became obsessed with the case and finding the person responsible. And right beside her through all of it was her boyfriend, Tom.
Oh, I bet he was.
You're a mess. Let me get through my story. So he tried several times to talk her into stepping back and just letting the police take care of it. But when he couldn't convince her, he jumped in with her and started helping her.
Hide the evidence?
Started helping her investigate. So her aunt had left her a really nice inheritance.
Motive.
And with her expenses suffering, as much as she did not like how she got the money, she was thankful for the relief that it gave. And she was able to pay on her house, which was falling behind, and take out some credit cards with hefty limits. Mm-hmm. And Tom was helping her throughout all of this to
spend that money,
to get the credit cards and all of that, because she is 65, by the way. I did not mention that.
Oh.
And he is 55.
10-year difference. He's helping her spend money and hide evidence. I mean, investigate. Yeah.
He also helped her. I'm curious to know if you know this. Invest in an MLM food company called Eureka Foods. Have you ever heard of that?
It actually sounds familiar.
Sounded familiar to me too, but I don't. I mean, I
don't know where.
It was really big in the 80s.
Is this when this takes place?
Yes. Oh, did I not? I thought I told you. It was in 1983.
No, you didn't.
Sorry.
Oh, that's the year I started school. I just wanted to put that out there. That was
2. So anyway, they both thought that the Eureka Foods thing would be a good idea because it would be something that she could run from out of her house with her being up there in age and help bring in some extra income. And so then after that, he helped her to take out a loan for $10,000 from her bank. And they gave that to her in $5,000 cash and $5,000 cashier's check. A few nights later, Jane was going to a friend's house and Tom stayed behind saying that he was ill. He wasn't feeling well and he wasn't going to be able to join her. And so about 30 minutes after she left, they had a house guest that I guess was staying in the guest house out back.
At the daddy aunt's house?
No, they're back at her house.
Oh, okay.
And the house guest witnessed Tom taking all of his stuff to his car and leaving in the middle of the night. And when she got home, she found a note that said that he had some bad business dealings in another country because he traveled for his business, and that he was in trouble and he needed to get out of the country quick because he didn't want his bad business to fall on her, right, and didn't want the people to come in and hurt her trying to get to him. And so he had to leave for her safety and his. But he didn't say where he was going, and he didn't say if or when he would be back.
Did he take any of her stuff? Or was it just his belongings?
Right now in the story, it was just his belongings.
Oh. I'm doing an investigation, honey.
She loved him very much, and so she was willing to wait until he could come home. But the next day, her bank called to inform her that Tom had come in the day before and cashed the cashier's check that they'd given her. When she heard that from the bank, she went into a panic, and she remembered that she had also let Tom hold the $5,000 cash.
Oh, shit.
And all of her credit cards.
Oh, shit.
So now, in a full panic, she had no money. Her boyfriend was gone and in danger in her mind. And she didn't know what to do. So, a new detective had stepped into her aunt's case and opened the cold case. So we are years later now. When this happened, when Tom left. Oh wait, no, it was a few days when he left. But now we're years later. When the new investigator comes in.
Right.
He's opening the case and he's noticing things off, and he actually suspects Jane as well as Tom. And so he comes to Jane and starts questioning her, and they start going through the evidence, and they're going, back and forth with each other. And the detective brings in profilers, which this was a very new thing for the FBI in this time,
right.
The profiling. So they could just give them the bare minimum kind of profile. And the profile, something in it stuck out to the new detective about Tom. And so he had to get Jane first to admit that Tom was shady, because she was still holding out hope that he was going to come back. So when a friend brought Jane a letter from Tom, he said he had received it with instructions to destroy the envelope. The envelope showed that Tom was in Belgium. But the condition of the envelope and the letter made Jane and the new detective question whether that was true or not. Because the envelope, she thought, coming all the way from Belgium, should be a little bit more
damaged.
Yeah. And it looked like a crisp new envelope. Like he had just handed it, So with that revelation, she began to help the detective look for him. She gave up all hope of the idea of him that she had.
So the whole theft of every dime that she had to her name didn't trigger anything. It was the envelope.
It made her panic because she needed that, but she still was under the impression he took it because he needed it because he was in danger.
Gotcha.
And so she, being in love with him, just wanted him to be safe so that he could make his way back to her one day.
Right.
But when that envelope came and she started to piece things together, she had to let it go. The idea of he was really a good guy and he had just stumbled into trouble. So with further investigation by Jane and the new detective, they were able to find a rental car that he had rented. I guess way back when this first happened.
Mm-hmm.
So the rental car records trace the car mileage from the rental car place to her aunt's front door. And he rented it the night that it happened. So they were able to match the mileage and then match it back to the rental car place. Did I get that through?
Yep. See, I would have already broken this case. It only took me like 5 minutes.
It took you 5 seconds. I mentioned the first sentence seconds. And you were like, it's the boyfriend. What? So in 1996, they finally had all of this evidence, and they were able to find him and arrest him and bring him for trial. He was an hour away from her the whole time.
Wow.
He had never left the country.
Wow. What a douchebag.
So he received 25 years to life for the murder of her aunt and I guess the theft of her money. And he died in 2010.
Good riddance.
She went on to found an organization called Citizens Against Homicide, an organization that helps other people solve their loved ones' murders. And she passed away in 2008 at the age of 86. There was a book written about her, and a movie that I'm wondering if you are familiar with called Citizen Jane.
Sounds familiar. I don't think I've ever seen it, but it sounds familiar.
It has Ali Sheedy, Sean Patrick Flannery, Nia Peoples, and Meatloaf in it.
I've never seen it. I think I've heard of it, though.
I had heard of it, but I don't think I've ever seen it. But I want to see it now. Oh, you know what? I completely forgot to tell you. When they brought him in, she found out that he had also taken out a $250,000 life insurance policy on her.
Oh, wow. He was plotting. Damn.
Yep.
Sounds like something my uncle would do.
But that's the story of Jane and Gertrude, Citizen Jane. Oh, be careful who you allow into your home, because you never really know. I mean, I'm safe with you. I've been with you for 21 years. If you were going to kill me, you'd have killed me by now.
I'm just waiting to be offed.
I'm not going to off you. There is no amount of money in the world that would replace you, so no.
Like he fell down the stairs. I don't know.
I'm not going to hurt him. No. But that was chilling when I read that, because they lived together for years. And she, had this whole idea of who this man was and was head over heels in love with him, trusted him enough to hand over everything that she had to him.
Yep.
And still, for years, once he left, held out hope that he would come back.
I don't understand the whole police thing. Like, that should have been like the first thing that you look into, is like any car rentals or anything that ties close people, to that case. Because one, she's the only one that really had a motive, apparently, because one, she was the only one that was getting any money out of it. At least that you said in the story.
I only saw that she was the one that got money.
But the second thing is that he has close ties to her, and he's an outsider. So he should have, at least those two should have been suspects right off the bat.
Right.
And then, so if they eliminate her, then it automatically goes to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the stuff that they should have taken care of first.
So the only suspects that they actually had at the time and interviewed, I didn't even include them because it was so brief. They questioned them one time and let them go and never questioned them again. So she was an elderly woman, like I mentioned, and she was able to take care of herself, but she was unable to do the things around the house, like cut the grass, change the light bulbs, fix leaks,
right.
That kind of stuff. So she hired out for that.
Right.
And there was a man and his wife that would come over, and he would fix the stuff while the wife sat with her and they would talk. They questioned them one time and said that they didn't believe that they were involved. So they let them go. And that was the only suspects that they ever had.
But then you had Jane and her boyfriend.
Right.
That had absolute motives to do stuff.
I feel like an 88-year-old woman living alone, the first people that you would interview would be the handyman and his wife, but also any family members that come into contact with them.
Right. Usually that is how it works, though. It's like they go for the family members first, or anybody. They'll go for the outsiders that they know they allow into their home, and then they'll go to the family, and it's usually pretty much all at the same time. But I don't know. All these cases seem like the cops are just...
I think maybe it was the time.
Maybe.
Because, a lot of these are in the 70s and the 80s, but everybody was high. Even the cops.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing that you do is you look into those people and, do background checks.
You had it figured out in 5 seconds.
Yeah, and then you see if they had any links to that house going like back and forth to car rental places, anything. I mean, that seems really stupid and naive to me. I'm just saying.
No, I agree. I feel like if they had looked into Jane and her boyfriend immediately, and they had seen...
And it sure as hell shouldn't have went years.
From his record, or I don't know how it did not specify how they came to find out that he had rented a car. But if they could have done that in 1996, then they could have done that in 1983, right? So it seems like they could have probably had this solved in less than 3 months if they had looked into them to begin with.
But that's what I'm saying is like with these cases, it's always the simplest things, and if it's always that thing of if they had just done that, then it would have been over with.
Yeah.
And case closed. But they didn't because they're slack as little shits. I don't know. Even now, it seems like the police are like really lax on cases. Nobody wants to do their job anymore. Like, you know what I mean?
I don't know because I haven't been privy to any.
Well, I mean, if you watch,
I don't
any like cases or anything like that on TV, trials and stuff. It's just like
the only things that I know about the police are what I see on Criminal Minds, and they do a wonderful job.
And they solve it in under an hour.
Yes, every time.
Yes. And they're even working on it in between, like in those commercial breaks.
It's like what Daddy says.
What?
Don't worry about it. Hollywood will fix it.
That's true.
So I have another story.
What you got?
It's not like that, but I read about something today that I thought was really interesting.
What?
So, in 1903, there was a system in place. I cannot remember the name of it. Bertillon or something like that. And this is how police identified and recorded people that were coming into prison systems. And it was name, measurements, like height, weight, all that, and a photograph. And those were the 3 things that they did.
Don't say they do it now. Plus a fingerprint.
Right. They didn't have the fingerprinting. So in 1903 in Leavenworth, there was a man that came in for a manslaughter charge, and his name was Will West.
Will West.
Will West.
Okay.
And so they were putting him into the system, and they found that he had a murder charge already on him. And he told them, I've never had a charge. I've never been here before. And they didn't believe him. And so they had to go back into their filing system and look. There was a William West in their system, in their files, who had murder charge. And they said, yes, here you are. Here's your photograph. Here's your measurements. They match up to what we've just taken of you. We know this is you. And he said, that's not me. I've never been here before. And so they had to go and look. And there was a William West already currently serving there.
Wow.
who looked just like him and had the same measurements. And he was like, well, that's my photograph, but that's not me. He didn't even recognize that that wasn't him in the photograph.
Wow. That's crazy.
And so they ended up serving time in the same place, one for murder, one for manslaughter. And the day after Will West was booked, they had to throw out the entire system that they had been using and add fingerprints to be able to differentiate between people.
So that was the first fingerprint?
That was the first fingerprinting.
That's crazy.
And that is why now we have to fingerprint everybody that comes through our system, because of everybody has a doppelganger.
Well, they do say that everybody has somebody who looks like them in the world.
They do, but this is such a weird story to me, because think about this, okay? Let's say you have somebody out there that looks just like you. What are the chances that they'll have the same name?
Oh, yeah, that's crazy.
And the same measurements.
Oh.
You know, the only thing that was different
And your photo
was their fingerprint.
And your photo is has such a strong resemblance that you can't even tell the difference. Oh, wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow. That's insane.
And this comes right after me and Mary and Catherine watched the movie Us last night.
Dude, that's insane. They have to be related somehow.
They would have had.
There's no way they couldn't be. Yeah.
And yeah, because it's too. I mean, they could be twins.
Yeah. What if they were?
Like separated at birth?
Yeah.
Yeah. And just weird that they had the same name.
I mean, you think.
That's what throws me. Like, they look exactly the same, but they also have the same name.
I know. That's weird. That's weird. What if one is like from like our multiverses got
intertwined?
Meshed. Yeah.
That's
it's just like the Mandela effect. A lot of people think that, that's what the Mandela effect is
right.
Like where they're screwing around with like multiverses and dimensions and stuff, and they get kind of intertwined together. So you see and remember one thing when you're a child, but then it changes.
Shazam and Kazam.
Mm-hmm. There was a guy that was, or the Berenstein Bears.
Yeah.
And now I don't even know if I'm saying it right.
I know. Oh, I just screamed in that microphone. Sorry.
But there was a guy that actually had a Berenstein Bears book. And I know it was probably fake, of course, but it looked cool. But he would go into one room and you could see it change. And then you would come out and it would change back.
That was not real.
It was. Don't be rude.
Johnny, I just hit the microphone. I'm all over your sound.
Well, stop. Put your hand down. Put your hand down.
I'm all over your soundboard right now.
You all over my stuff.
You're going to be watching this to edit it, and you're going to be like, damn it, Tina.
Well, usually I can dull it down because you do it a lot, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, because it's right here. It's right here in my face.
Yeah. It's a sense of... Well, Tuesday, we'll have new microphones.
Oh, yes. Yes, we will. They'll be right here, so I won't have to have this in my freaking face.
Then we're going to have this habit of going...
I am not doing that. I already have way too many chins. If I do that, no.
They're going to be watching the show and be like, why is she trying to eat her chest? I just went talking to the microphone.
No. Okay, so I want to talk about the doppelganger thing. Okay. So we watched the movie Us last night. Do you remember it from when me and you watched it? Okay, so the family is sitting in their house.
I don't really remember horror movies very well.
The family is sitting in their vacation house and they look out in the driveway and there's a family of strangers standing at the end of the driveway. And when they get closer, it's them.
Oh, no, I don't
It looks just like them.
Have I seen that?
Yes. We watched it when it first came out.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, it got me thinking, and then I came across that story. Completely was not looking for that story today. It just happened that it came up for me. And I just got to thinking, do you really believe in doppelgangers? Like, do you really believe that there's another Johnnie out there, even if he isn't Johnnie, but he looks like you? And
I mean, I hope not.
I asked the wrong person. Of course, that's your answer.
Wasn't there? There was another movie with what was it, Mirror or something like that, with one of the Southern people.
Kiefer?
Yeah.
I don't think that's what it was it?
I thought it was. I thought he was like an evil dude inside the mirror or something.
I don't know. Maybe. I know that from our teenage years, there was one with Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, I can't remember that one.
But anyway, so there is a girl in Stockbridge that looks almost identical to me. So much so that, and I'm from Stockbridge, so much so that I was constantly stopped in stores and people would try to talk to me as if they knew me. And I had no idea who they were. And I would have to tell them, I'm sorry, I don't know who you are, and I don't know what you're talking about. I've never met you before. And they would say, aren't you so-and-so? And I'd say, no, that's not my name. My name is
Slim Shady.
And then I had, a few years ago, I had somebody, so I'd never seen this person that they thought I was. I had somebody contact me on Facebook, and they were like, I saw your picture, and I was going to friend you until I saw your name, and you were not my friend that I was looking for. And she was like, do you know that you have a doppelganger? Because this girl looks exactly like you. I've been friends with her for years, and I saw your photo and thought you were her. And she sent me the link to her Facebook, and it was eerie how much she looks like me.
I mean, I've been told that I look or resemble other people, and I've seen other people that I think look like me from a distance, but I've never actually seen somebody that looks like me face to face. I think I have a pretty unique look. You know what I mean? You don't think so?
I don't know.
It'd be very odd.
My question is there two of us? All of us?
I don't know. Some people believe that there are.
What do you believe doppelgangers are? Do you believe that they're the evil version of you in the mirror, or does everybody have a double? Just walking along, living their life?
I think there's a little bit of a difference between like...
And why?
I would say that everybody does maybe have a double.
Why?
I don't know.
Why did the world need two of us?
I don't know. But they might not necessarily be evil, just cookie cutter, you know.
Well, I'm the good one, so there has to be a bad one.
That's the one that's stuck in the mirror.
Do you think that you would be the good one?
I would think so, yeah.
Do you?
Mm-hmm. You don't think I would be?
I don't know. I do think that you would.
Am I evil?
No, but I expected that to be your answer.
What? That I'm the good one?
No, that you're the bad one.
No, I'm the good one. I mean, I would think I'm the good one. I haven't done anything.
No, you're a very good guy.
I sit at home and do
You're absolutely a very good guy.
and work on video games.
I just expected your answer to be, hell no. I'm the bad one.
I don't do anything.
No.
So I'm sad all the time.
I wonder if your doppelganger is sad all the time because they just work.
No, they probably actually have a life. That's what the opposite is. It's one like fails at everything.
So they're rich.
Yeah.
You do not fail. You better stop that. No negative self-talk, mister. You don't fail. So our anniversary is coming up. Wednesday.
First. Oh.
I swear I know when our anniversary is. It's just when I have to say it.
No, I mean, you said it earlier today.
Yeah.
So I didn't think you'd forget it that fast.
I stumble over it sometimes. But I think it's because we have a 24th birthday. So I go back and forth between saying the 21st and the 24th. For our anniversary, I stumble.
I thought you were saying somebody was about to turn 24. Like, no.
No, I'm saying her birthday is on the 24th.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have to say that a lot.
All right.
So I stumble over it. But we are going to go, and we are going to go find this is my favorite date, y'all. It's my favorite date. We are going to go and get Subway sandwiches, and then we are going to go find a town to explore.
So if you have any... hold on.
This won't air before that.
Yeah. Well, actually, even because we do it all the time anyway. So if you have any suggestions on, I would say, Northeast Georgia area.
Yeah, it has to be in a 2 to 3.5 hour not radius, because I don't want to go south.
No.
It has to be up above us 2 to 3.5 hours.
So anything 2 to 2 or what? 2 to 3.5 hours north of Winder.
You think, or is that too far?
On the north? No, that's fine. On the northeast side of Georgia, then let us know, and we'll go explore it and make videos.
Something that we really, really love is if you can tell us places to go with a lot of abandoned buildings or ruins, rundown places that we're allowed to go look at and take photographs of or just explore. We really like that. We really like towns with a lot of history.
All right.
And you know what?
Nothing
I just
sinister.
realized.
What?
My straw is shaking, and that's going to be through a lot of that.
Well,
audio.
I use noise cancellation, so hopefully it'll knock some of it out.
I'm problematic.
Yeah. But I love you.
When we were doing the show before, our sound guy, I always got in trouble for either having a noisy bra because I had the underwire that would squeak every time I moved, or having a necklace that hit my microphone. And
that's why I used to wear the headphones so I could monitor everything, but I don't want to wear them.
No, it's okay. If y'all get a little bit of squeaky straw, you just got to deal with it. It's okay.
If the squeaky straw aggravates you, go to suspectparanormal.com and send us a message. No, because that'll flood my inbox.
You think they're going to flood you with squeaky straw
I can't stand a
complaints?
straw.
You know what bothers me when I listen to our podcast?
The S.
I have really sharp S's. And
I have dulled that down as far as I can. There is nothing else I can do about that.
I don't know what to do except to bite my tongue. I used to get in trouble for that growing up because it drove, like how styrofoam drives you crazy. The sharp S in my words would drive my mother crazy. But
even with the big podcast, you still hear that. It's just, there's no getting rid of it. I
apologize for it if it bothers you.
You can dull it down, but you can't get rid of it. It's just there.
It's just a part of me.
Well, the microphones tend to pick up on those types of things a little harsher.
You think the shirt one will?
Well,
probably.
I don't know. Well, we'll just have to play around with it and see. That's going to be a whole different setup because I've never messed with lavalier mics before.
Oh, well. So do you have anything else for tonight?
I don't think so. But yeah, I mean, if you do have any messages or anything that you want us to read on the show, on the podcast, shoot us a message over at suspectparanormal.com.
I feel like there was something that I wanted to talk about that we had talked about before that had happened in the house. We've had a lot going on here lately.
Well, I was going to save all that for the Halloween show.
Okay, so is that our next show?
I don't know. I have to look at the
I
schedule.
think it is. Because we are at the... I'm pretty sure it is, Johnny. Because we're on the 14th right now.
So this one will come out for the public on the 20th. So...
Yeah, I think it is.
It'll be the next... Yeah, it'll be the next show.
So I'm going to introduce that tonight. Just to tell y'all a little bit about what we'll be talking about next show. We've had a lot of activity in the house, which at this time of the year, we always get a little bit more activity kicked up around this,
This year's been insane.
But yeah, it has been off the charts this time. And everyone in this house is seeing and experiencing stuff where usually Mary is pretty immune and so is Aiden.
But to be honest, this entire year has been kind of wacky. It hasn't just been like the season like it usually is. It's been like that all year.
But it's been kicked up.
But it's been kicked up
a month and a half or so.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're both sensitives, and our children are, and so it makes for a very interesting household.
And Aiden actually has been seeing a lot.
Right, recently.
Yeah.
But he didn't before.
Right.
And that's why I'm saying it has stepped up, its appearances and its activity. So stay tuned for next show because we have a lot to talk about. And hopefully we will have some footage of a ghost hunt in the house, which I did not want to do because I don't want to stir it up anymore. But with some of the things that has happened in the past 2 days, I think that we need to do it to see what we can find out.
Yep. Absolutely. And we already have night vision cameras all over the place, so we'll just have to tap into those a little bit.
Yep.
And see if we catch anything.
So stay tuned. We're going to have a good show next time.
Oh, I'm out. I don't have anything else.
All right. So we have enjoyed it. I hope y'all have enjoyed it. If you have, and you have not already, like, subscribe, share, get the word out.
Yeah, we definitely need some shares.
Yep.
Definitely need some shares. And if you're on Spotify, we actually do videos on Spotify. All of our shows are video enabled on Spotify, so you can... I just recently found out that right before we started doing this show that they had actually started doing videos on Spotify. So if Spotify is your thing, you can do videos over there, watch our videos over there, and listen to audio.
Yep. So see you next time.
And don't forget about Patreon. And if you do the Patreon, you can get early access to the shows. And then is that all we're on? Patreon, YouTube, Spotify. And that's it.
Yep.
That's it. And we need to get some merch up.
Okay. But we don't have any right now, so I'm out.
Yeah. All right. Peace.